Professor Abu Sufyan, sir is going to join shortly in a minute or so. The once he joins, we'll start, inshallah.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
विशाल भाई, I'm getting into a conference. मैं तुमको कॉन्फ्रेंस के बाद फोन करता हूँ, ठीक?
Assalamu alaikum, Director sir.
Assalamu alaikum and welcoming our director, sir, to this meeting. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, sir.
Walaikum salam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Dr. Sharik and team. I'm sorry,
Thank you, sir.
on parallel IIC webinar also.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, I can imagine, sir. Thank you so much for joining and taking time, sir. So, with your permission, should we start? Our guest speaker, keynote speaker, our very own Moin
please,
sir
please.
is here.
Please,
And with your permission, we'll proceed. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. So, Professor Abu Sufyan, we can proceed.
Sure. Rida, please start the session.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to each and everyone present today. I am Rida Mushtaq Boblai, your General Secretary for the year 2021-22. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome everyone to this auspicious occasion of Pharmacist Day, a day where we celebrate and cherish our profession and our contribution to the field of science and innovation. Come take a peek as we step into a profession of nobility and care, a profession of discovery where no efforts are spared. As students, we stepped in with aims that bright, as we start a day with coats all white. So here we are with dreams of saving lives, as we take our oath and hop on this amazing drive. Now, without any further ado, thanking and remembering the Almighty for all the blessings bestowed upon us, I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Khan Sarguru to recite a few verses of the Holy Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنحر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. By the morning light and the night as it settles, your Lord did not abandon you, nor did he forget. The hereafter is better for you than the first, and your God will give you, and you will be satisfied. Did he not find you orphaned and sheltered you, and found you wandering and guided you, and found you in need and enriched you? Therefore do not mistreat the orphan, nor rebuff the speaker, but proclaim the blessing of your God.
Thank you so much, Muhammad, for this beautiful recitation. Keeping up with the spirit of Pharmacists Day, I would like to play the Pharmacy Anthem, taking us all on a tour through our memory lane.
Enter the world of pharmacy. It held in world supremacy. The legends left us the legacy. So we are the future, it's a prophecy. इस दुनिया में लोगों का मसीह दूर करने के लिए बेबसी बेबसी. We are the pharmacists. We are the future. Yeah, we are the future. Just don't peep, get down deep from the age-old praise. We evolved as pharmacists. From the mortar and pestle, it emerged to comfort your air. We are the pharmacists. We are the future.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days. That indeed brought back a lot of memories. Now, without any further delay, I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Khan Sarguru to introduce our beloved Dean.
Thank you so much, Rida. Now it gives me immense pleasure to invite our Honorable Dean, Dr. Sharik Syed, to give an open remark to all our students present here. Dr. Sharik Syed pursued his graduation in pharmacy from Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Nagpur University in 1997, and completed Masters in Medicinal Chemistry from Hamdard University in 1999. He moved to the United States of America to pursue his strong interest in research in drug discovery, where he completed his PhD from University of Maryland, which ranked amongst the top 10 pharmacy universities in the world. Dr. Sharik has more than 10 years of experience in industry as well as teaching. He began his career in field of new drug research as a research investigator in Bristol Myers Squibb, Princeton, USA, and worked there for 5.5 years. At BMS, he was involved in clinical development of new drugs in areas of oncology. One of the most drugs that he worked was on immuno-oncology. Immunomab, which was awarded most innovative drug by the President of the United States of America, Mr. Barack Obama. As an acknowledgement of his expertise in drug development, he was granted permanent residency in the United States in a special category of people of national interest. Sir has published numerous scientific articles published in international conferences. He recently published a book in immunotherapy. He is inducted into a prestigious Rokai Honor Society of USA, member of American College of Clinical Pharmacology, and other boards of various pharmaceutical organizations. He was also awarded Anjuman's Best Teacher Award and very recently Pharma Ratan Award for his contributions in drug development. He is currently serving as Dean School of Pharmacy, Kalsika Technical Campus, New Panvel. He has strong interest in experimenting with innovative pedagogy to improve student outcomes and studying organizational dynamics. In his free time, he loves taking nature trails, which he calls nature bathing. Now I'd like to welcome Dean, School of Pharmacy, Dr. Sharik Syed, to speak a few words.
Thank you so much, Mohammad Khan, for the wonderful introduction. So, Honorable Chief Guest for today, Mr. Moin Sir, our very own Director Sir, Dr. Abdurrazak Manutagi, all my colleagues and my dear students. I really welcome all of you to this very important day where we celebrate along with our global community of 2.6 million pharmacists across the world as a World Pharmacist Day. And essentially, as Rida quite clearly mentioned very aptly, that this is a day where we kind of acknowledge the very important role that the pharmacists have been doing across the world in the healthcare. And as you're probably aware, pharmacist has a very important role in discovery, development, distribution, dispensing, ensuring the safety of the medication. So the entire chain and ecosystem of medications. So as I say, you cannot imagine patients without a doctor. So you cannot imagine medicines without pharmacists. So we've been doing in a very important role. So the whole idea of celebrating today's day is to highlight the very important role that the pharmacists are doing across within the community, global community, local community, on the important role that they have into healthcare. And it is a time for us to be proud about. It is time for us to celebrate, and it is the same time it is a time for us to introspect and to ensure that we are coming up to the expectations of the society, right? So, pharmacists are doing, as I mentioned, pharmacists do an exciting and a very impactful role in the societies. So 300 plus pharmacists who have been graduated from our school are also doing the same thing. Someone like Naeem Maniar has his own manufacturing unit called Micromedics Pharmaceuticals with a global turnover of almost 2.5 crores and ensuring that safe and affordable medications are there. Someone like Ikra Balabai, who's working at Tata Memorial Cancer Institutions in developing drugs for thyroid cancers and other cancers. She's involved into clinical trials, and many other, all of our alumni who are doing some exciting work. So I'm sure in a couple of years from now, all of my students will be graduating out and they'll be going out in the community to do the same work. Okay. So the whole purpose of we celebrating this day is to ensure that we understand the identity of the pharmacists, to ensure that we really know our roles as pharmacists. And most important of all, we develop ourselves with the right skill sets, right knowledge, right skill set, right attitude, so that we are ready for the world that we are stepping into a couple of years from now. As you have seen with the pandemic, things can go awry in very short period of time. Things can go uncertain in a very short period of time. So we, being a very important role as a healthcare stakeholder, we will have to come to those responsibilities. We have to come to those expectations, rise to those expectations, and deliver what the society expects us from us. So this year, the theme is pharmacy, the trusted souls in healthcare. Okay? Trust is the important word that is being used here. And I was reading an article where it says that when the people and the patients trust the healthcare professionals, their outcome significantly improves. So as you're probably aware of it, pharmacists, if you rank in terms of the trustworthiness, pharmacists as a role, as a profession, ranks one of the most highest across in different professions. So we need to continue with that legacy. We need to rise up to this occasion. And that is the whole purpose of we celebrating Pharmacist Day. So once again, this is a moment of pride and happiness for all of us as a pharmacist community. We are very fortunate to have Mr. Moin sir, who's a very experienced pharmaceutical professional working into safety and efficacy of the medication. He has an immense contribution in that. So we're delighted to have him here. He'll be speaking on his experience, and I'm sure he'll be talking about his expectations from all of us. So with that note, and with that kind of expectation, really once again, welcoming all of you to this week-long celebrations where we'll be doing a lot of different activities in terms of, competitive actions, like, different activities such as innovative competitions and spoken presentations and community service. So I'm sure all of my students will be participating with all kind of energy into that, so that we continue towards our path towards becoming the exuberant pharmaceutical professional. So that's my expectation from you. So with that, once again, wishes for the World Pharmacist Day on behalf of all of us out here. Thank you so much for giving me the time. Over to the organizers.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening and kind words. Here we present a small video as a token of gratitude for our budding pharmacist. Is considered as the first part of call for many patients needing medicines to treat minor conditions or advice on medication and lifestyle management. It's such a profession that provides a full counseling service to the customers. It is a non-dying profession. Even with the adoption of technology, there is always a need of a pharmacist.
Roles of a pharmacist. Pharmacists make sure that medicines are used safely. They too work with the patients to understand how to take their medicines and get the most out of them. They do work alongside with other healthcare professionals, including doctors and nurses, so patients are prescribed the most appropriate medicines for them. Other than that, pharmacists also have the knowledge of quality of medicines supplied to the patients, ensuring that the supply of medicines is within the law, ensuring that the medicines prescribed to the patients are suitable, as well as advising patients about medicine, prescribing them, including how to take them, that is dispensing, and what reactions may occur, and answering the questions asked by the patient.
Responsibilities of pharmacist. Pharmacists dispense prescriptions, medications to patients and offer expertise in safe use of prescription drugs, conduction of health and wellness screening, provide immunization and overraise the medications given to patients.
As a healthcare professional, pharmacist plays an important role in improving access to healthcare and in closing gap between the potential benefit of medicines and the actual value realized as a comprehensive health system.
Now, I would like to invite Mr. Jagdish Barsaure to give a brief introduction about the Honorable Director.
Thank you, Rida. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our Honorable Director, Dr. Abdul Razak Guntyagi of AIKTC. Sir pursued his graduation in civil engineering from Karnataka University in 1987 and completed his master's in civil engineering from IIT Roorkee. With the specialization in building science and technology, in 1994, he received a doctorate of philosophy, that is PhD degree from IIT Bombay in 2014. Sir has more than 27 years of professional experience in the field of engineering education. Sir began his career in teaching as a lecturer of civil engineering at Basaveshwar Engineering College in Karnataka and worked there for 10 years. Then Sir joined M.H. Sabu Siddiqui College of Engineering, Mumbai as an assistant professor of construction engineering. While working in Sabu Siddiqui College of Engineering, Sir received the Best Teacher Award among various colleges of Anjuman Islam for the year 1998-99. Sir continued the art of attaining success through progression in his teaching and got promoted as principal of M.H. Sabu Siddiqui Polytechnic, Mumbai. During his tenure, Sabu Siddiqui Polytechnic was adjusted as the best polytechnic of Maharashtra state for the year 1999-2000. Also, the institute was cited as the role model polytechnic during the 6th ISTE annual convention. Sir has published numerous articles in the international journals and has received the Outstanding Research Paper Award in the International Engineering and Technology Education Conference held at Taylor's University in Malaysia. In this way, Sir has been capturing the highest office or state of his life by advancing through the step from being a classroom teacher to a principal and now to the current position of the director of Anjuman Islam Kalsikar Technical Campus. Thank you. Now I would request our director, sir, to address the gathering.
Thank you, Jagdish, for a very long, introduction, though it is not required for our campus, for our students. But anyway, I thanks the entire team of organizers. More particularly, I'm very happy because this particular event has been hosted, organized by the students group. So when students starts taking lead in managing, organizing such events, it will add a lot of value, and that is how the faculty members will get delighted, because we want to see that our students are even good in hosting such events professionally. And so far, what I have observed, the team of students for this World Pharmacists Day celebration. So there is a lot of planning, very systematically things were presented, and it is not just anything which is done randomly. So in the beginning, let me congratulate, let me appreciate all the students who have taken pain in organizing this particular event of School of Pharmacy. It is not a new thing, and it has been consistently being hosted under the portals of School of Pharmacy, this World Pharmacist Day, with different themes, and more particularly by inviting the most relevant, resource persons and most appropriate events planned over the over a period of a week or so. So till last year and even before, it was really a vibrant atmosphere whenever this World Pharmacist Day is being celebrated on campus. And I would see the energy level of all the students and the way they used to interact, and a lot of smiles carried by them being on campus. So that was the case, before pandemic started. And because of this pandemic, the pharmacy profession, it got amplified like anything, and all over the globe, the importance of pharmacists came to the limelight, though it was there earlier, but now because of pandemic, so this profession came on top. But we are forced to remain out of campus because of all those limitations. And I am particularly appreciating today because even you are out of campus, but you thought of hosting this World Pharmacist Day in virtual mode, and that too with such a good planning. So therefore, I'm very happy to be a part of this celebration. And as always, we have this campus which is integrated in the form of engineering, pharmacy, architecture, and polytechnic. So I always see the School of Pharmacy students and even faculty members, having a right attitude of doing right things. Now, there are many people who do things mostly under compulsion or half-heartedly, but I always found that School of Pharmacy students and faculty are the one who always put their 100%, and with the complete heart putting into those activities, they do it. And this is the reason why they are moving better and better, and they are getting appreciated. And that is how we are witnessing today. And another good thing, I'm very happy because of one important reason, that our own friend, philosopher, a guide, a mentor, and always making, sincere supplications to Allah for the betterment of this campus is Mr. Moin John Sahab. So he has been invited as an inaugural speaker for World Pharmacists Day. And, this is the most appropriate thing which has happened for this year's World Pharmacists Day celebration. So I welcome wholeheartedly on my personal behalf and also on behalf of our Executive Chairman, Mr. Burhan Harris, our in-charge board for institutions in Navi Mumbai, Mr. G.R. Sheikh, and also President of Anjuman Islam, Dr. Zahir Qazi, to this program as an inaugural speaker to Moin Don Saab. And let me also share that I was very happy to know that recently Moin Don Saab has been nominated as lead for South Asia chapter of International Society of Pharmacovigilance. It is a most prestigious global organization in the domain. So this is again a good news, which is associated with Mr. Moin Don, though he has got a tremendous experience, lot of laurels, and he is a very highly sought after, resource person, not only in the country, but across the globe. And he's a widely traveled person. And not only that, the most important aspect of Mr. Moin Don is he is also, trying to keep his, I don't say just religious values, but the spiritual dimension of his personality is being showcased and giving advantage to many people in the form of every week, for Juma Khutbah, Juma Nasihat, he conducts a YouTube live program. And those kind of, sermons, those kind of discourses are also coming from a person like Moin Don, reaches very effectively to the masses because he is not just any ordinary person and giving the light of Islamic values to the people, to the masses, because he is a well-established personality in pharmaceutical domain. So therefore, people have got a lot of respect to him, and even I never miss his weekly discourses, and I attend to all his sermons. And now the series what he has started, the importance of namaz, the prayer, not just a ritual, but the scientific background, the very purpose of each and everything what we do in namaz. So that is very beautifully demonstrated by Moin Don Saab. So therefore, I'm very happy that today, once again, it is a time for me to listen to his tacit knowledge, which is in store in him, becoming explicit for the benefit of our students and faculty. And whatever is there outside in the form of knowledge or information, it is all already made explicit. But what is most important is, the persons like Moin Don Saab, or you take any other resource person, there is a huge tacit knowledge already in store. It is like the entire iceberg. And what is available as explicit knowledge is just tip of the iceberg. So therefore, I appeal all students community, the entire group of students who are attending this program, to always remain connected with the storehouse of knowledge like Moin Don Saab. Because what is it has come out of them is only a small amount of the knowledge and wisdom. But what is there within them, it is huge reservoir, right? So therefore, when you come in contact with those persons, and there is a transfer of tacit from one person to other person, and that kind of connectivity you need to establish, and that too now not for the sake of formality, but it should be with a lot of sincerity. One has to remain connected, and then only the advantage comes, and then only the highly valued resource persons will always try to open their reservoir and put all that tacit knowledge before you, and then you can make use of that knowledge for the further benefit of entire humanity. So this is the way how things keeps on going, and this is how these kind of celebrations, events, and activities are planned. And therefore, World Pharmacists Day, as always, is outcome based. It is not just a ritual which we are doing once in a year. This is just some kind of culmination of all that we do over the academic year, just showcasing in one particular day. And as such, World Pharmacist Day is not only restricted to 25th September every year, but every day is a World Pharmacist Day, because every day you are required for the well-being of the entire humanity. So therefore, take every day as a World Pharmacist Day and try to remember your responsibilities, and you are accountable to the humanity, and also you need to take ownership. I always propagate a term called Mr. Rao or Miss Rao, R-A-O, which means when you do anything, you treat yourself as Mr. or Miss Rao, because you are responsible, you are accountable, and you have got the ownership to do all this. So if you are sticking to this term, then whatever you do, it will be really a beautiful contribution to the entire humanity. And that is what the purpose of our creation. And then only Allah will appreciate and make us eligible for his blessing. So that is the way we need to look at that. It's not only getting a degree and try to find some job and earn and do all that what normally people do, not that way. So you are supposed to escalate yourself on that path where you become eligible for the blessings of Almighty Allah, who has created all of us. When you become eligible for his blessings, then whatever you do, it will become a blessing for every on this globe, on this earth, and you become a most contributory member of the society, of the nation, and you become such a personality who can be emulated by all others as a role model. So this is what the purpose. And I finally, we know we are here to listen to Mr. Moin Don Saab. So therefore, I will not take much time. I once again thank Dr. Sharik Syed and all faculty members who are a part of this particular celebration. And most importantly, I'm very happy once again to tell that the students group who are doing this activity more professionally. I thank one and all. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wise words. Now, I would like a young pharmacist. In fact, I would like each and everyone to participate. The link for the Mentimeter is provided in the chat box. I would like each and every one of you to mention your role as a pharmacist in one word. Please go ahead. I love the spirit and the active participation of everyone in creating such a beautiful cloud. Indeed, there is beauty in teamwork. Thank you, everyone. Now, I would like to invite Professor Abu Sufyan Sheikh to welcome our honorable guest. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rida. Assalamu alaikum and good morning to one and all. I am Abu Sufyan, Assistant Professor in AIKTC-School of Pharmacy. I take this opportunity to introduce today's keynote speaker, Mr. Muin Don. Mr. Muin Don, sir, is one of the few well-known pharmacovigilance professionals in Asia-Pacific region with very rich hands-on experience of practically every facet of industrial pharmacovigilance. Muin sir received his Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from KMK College of Pharmacy in 1976. He has very rich experience of working in pharmaceutical industries. He has started his career in production in Huchat Pharmaceuticals, where he had ascended to head this company by the year 2000. After his journey in core pharma field, he started working in a pharmacovigilance in the year 2001. By this time, Huchat had transfigured to Aventis Pharma Limited, and Muin sir worked in its PV function for 5 years, rising to affiliate pharmacovigilance head at Sanofi Aventis in the early 2004. After a brief stint at Dr. Reddy Laboratories in 2006 as a head of pharmacovigilance, Muin sir joined Johnson & Johnson in 2007, where he promoted to the regional PV QA director for Asia Pacific in the year 2011. He was also heading the PV function at Reliance Clinical Research Service for 2 years. In 2011, on an urge to work independently, Muin Don sir founded PVCon, which is an auditing and consulting service. Muin sir has undergone extensive training in US, Germany, France, and Singapore to master the PV. He is a certified lead auditor and is closely associated with Government of India National Pharmacovigilance Program as advisor and trainer for DCGI and PVPI staff. In addition, he is steering committee member of DIA India and has been chairing its PV flagship conference for last 5 years. As a distinguished PV consultant and auditor, Muin sir has conducted audit in India and rest of the world. He is visiting faculty, international speaker, and author of articles in many international journals of repute. He is also the course director of PG Diploma in PV conducted by Academy for Clinical Excellence, Mumbai. Muin sir has been a recipient of prestigious Pharma Ratan 2016 award for lifetime achievement in pharmacovigilance and drug safety at the hand of Drug Controller General of India. Recently, he has been nominated by International Society of Pharmacovigilance to lead its South Asia chapter. Muin sir is fully dedicated to philanthropy and charity work. He is secretary of We Care Charitable Medical Center and also vice president of the trust that runs 2 primary schools in the slum area around Kalyan city. Also, he is the mentor and a guide, especially to our institute since from its inception. So on behalf of Anjuman Islam Kalsika Technical Campus, School of Pharmacy, I welcome Muin Don sir to this inaugural session of World Pharmacists Day 2021 and request you to take over the charge of this forum. It is over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I must say I am overwhelmed and humbled to hear so much about myself. In fact, what Dr. Abdul Razak said, after that, there was no need to give such detailed introduction of myself. But okay, you know, sometimes you have to stick to the formalities. So the formality is being completed. So Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everybody. I can see almost more than 100, there are 186 participants, and I can only say, wow, that's fantastic response, considering that this is a remote forum and everybody is sitting at home, but still they made it a point to join today's Pharmacy Week celebration. So a big applause to all the people who have organized this particular webinar, and also for everybody who is attending this today's webinar or today's function remotely. So having heard so much of about me and about pharmacists, I think I love the Pharmacist Anthem. I don't know whether this is an anthem coined by Karlsruhe Institute of Pharmacy, or it is a general anthem which is being coined by some other people. But this is the first time I'm really, I must admit that this I heard for the first time, and I loved it. I mean, very well coined, very well designed, and very well authored, and also the very well it has been radiated. So I don't want to waste my time and your time because I have a slide deck which I would like to go through, and those who have seen me presenting, it is not my way of presenting just slide after slide. I would like you people to understand the spirit behind it. What is understood, what can be read on a slide, but what is there in my heart and mind, that is the way I normally look at a presentation. So you can read my slide, but then you should understand what is behind that slide and what is going on in my mind and my heart, which I would like to present to you while speaking to you people. So, and I must thank Abdurazak sir for giving the other dimension, and this is very important because I'm talking to more than 180 students here. And so first thing I'm assuring you people, my profile right now, I think my laptop camera does not allow my people to see me. Probably it thinks that I'm not worth presentable. So, but you can always connect me through LinkedIn. So I'm there on LinkedIn, and you can always approach to me through LinkedIn in case if you have any question, any query. This is a open offer from me, not only to you, all students and all professionals. I keep telling them that I'm one click away. You can always just write a message to me through LinkedIn profile and be part of my network. This is one thing. And second thing, what Abdurazak has said, those who are interested, I'm also presenting every Thursday what is known as Thursday Taskir through Al Hikmah. So probably that also is available on YouTube. So you can listen to me there on various topics, and especially about the tafsir of Quran, and you can subscribe this channel. So whenever there is a new program uploaded, you will get an automatic notification of that. So this is over and above what I'm going to present today. So Sufyan sir, can you please move on to the next slide? Yeah, what I'm going to give you is a very brief industry practice and perspective of PV. That is, you will be hearing this word PV, which stands for pharmacovigilance. And this presentation I had especially made during last week, which was celebrated as a National Pharmacovigilance Week. And I was invited by Jamia Hamdard, and I was invited by NIPER to give a talk to the students, and I had prepared this slide deck for them. And I want to continue with this because it actually covers all the basics of pharmacovigilance and how the pharmacovigilance supports the pharmaceutical industry. You would just get the tip of the iceberg, as rightly said by Professor Abdurazak sir, that what is below the surface of the water is 9/10 of the iceberg, and you nearly need to explore. I'm not talking about the entire pharmaceutical industry and the pharmaceutical sciences. I'm just talking about PV itself, pharmacovigilance itself, for drug safety. When I'm going to take you through, what I'm going to show you is the tip of the iceberg, and what lies under the water surface is 9/10 of pharmacovigilance or drug safety. Next slide, please. This is what I have learned and during this pandemic, and I'm sharing with it. I don't know whether how many of you will agree with this. You will not agree with it. All of us are fellow victims of this pandemic, COVID-19. Some of us have lost their relatives, near ones, dear ones. Some of us have actually gone through COVID-19 disease, and we came across all sort of people. I mean, we came across some good Samaritans, people who risked their own lives to, become a COVID warrior, and really worked for humanity at the ground zero level. But we also came across bloodthirsty vultures and Shylocks of the society. And we saw how people sold remdesivir in black market, how people sold oxygen cylinders and whatnot. So my first advice to all the budding professionals of the society is, it is good to be a good professional. It is still better to be an excellent professional, but most importantly, be a good human being under your professional garb. So if you are a pharmacist, under the garb of a professional pharmacist, you should be a good human being, right? A professional with a heart for humanity. And that's what is expectation set by the Dean, Dr. Sharik, and that was set by also Abdul Razak sir. And the same thing is being reiterated by me. So if you become a very good, if you become a gold medalist in your B.Pharm exam, and you become a Shylock, if you become a bloodthirsty vulture, then we don't need this type of pharmacist in the society, because they are going to do much harm than they are going to do something good for the society. So this is my opening sermon for everybody, that be a good human being under your professional garb, right? So let's go to the next slide. So once all of you, whether you are in the final B.Pharm or in other years of B.Pharm, there will be a lot of questions in front of you, that what you are going to do after your B.Pharmacy exams or B.Pharmacy certification once you have it. So just tab it once more. So you have industry, you have research, you have academia, you have entrepreneurship, like one of the, just go to the next tab, please, Abu Sufyan. Yeah. So you can go for post-graduation, or you can do doctorate, or you can have your own pharmacy, or you can become a dispensing pharmacist, or you can join research, like what your own Dean Sharik sir did. You can join industry. You can be one of the academics, like you have Abdul Razak sir or Abu Sufyan sir, or you can have you can become entrepreneurship, like what Dr. Sharik said about one of your own student. He has started with his own manufacturing unit. So why I will urge you people to be entrepreneur, or you have your own business, because this is the way you are going to help many more people from the society. Your own pharmacy people, your own people from your own society, because you will be able to create employment through entrepreneurship, right? So I give a lot of importance to this. And whenever I'm speaking to youngsters like you, I always say that it is better to be an entrepreneur and have your own business, rather than do business for somebody else and become an employee or serve your master. You be your own master, right? Because that is the way you are going to contribute much more to your profession, much more to your people who are from your own profession. Next slide, please. When we talk about industry, then as you know, there are so many facets of industry. So then again, there will be question mark in your mind, whether I should join production, whether I should go to analytical, sales and marketing. So these are the various facets of industry where you can be accommodated, or you can think of yourself joining after you are doing your BPharm. Unfortunately, the first step, that is the production. If you ask me today in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, as we all know that most of the production houses have been closed, and these production houses have been moved to either Goa or Ankleshwar or to the Baddi. And then in case if somebody is looking, there are very, very few formulation units now, which are still there in Mumbai and around. So, in case if you really are looking for an outlet in pharma production, then you also should be ready mentally to move yourself or to relocate yourself to one of these areas. It could be Aurangabad, it could be Vapi, it could be Ankleshwar, it could be Baddi in Himachal Pradesh. Then also, depending on your own personal traits, there are certain things which you need to take care of. Like for a sales and marketing job, everybody cannot take up this particular portfolio in sales and marketing. If for a sales and marketing, you need to be outgoing person. You must have a good communication skill, good command over spoken English. Then you like to meet people, communicate, converse. So in case if you are not that type, so it means that sales and marketing is not your cup of tea. And it, of course, you have to keep changing positions. Then relocation is a big problem. They keep changing the positions of regional salespeople from one territory to another territory. So if you are a conservative introvert type of person, like to work yourself, then you are more fit for maybe a production unit or an analytical unit or a regulatory unit. Then you can become a part of the service industry. When we talk about service industry, today I don't have to explain what service industry does mean. So service industry means you become part of a CRO, you can become part of a BPO or a KPO. So knowledge processing outsourcing, like you have Accenture, then you have TCS, you have you have Cognizant, and a lot of other pharmaceutical and medical service providers where they are taking pharmacy graduates and postgraduates and doctors as well. So this is the service industry. And why this service industry is becoming more and more important, you should understand that as I would be taking you through my slide deck, you would realize that more and more work is being outsourced by big multinational companies like Johnson & Johnson, where I worked, Sanofi Aventis, where I worked for many, many years. There was a survey by Pricewaterhouse, and that survey said that by 2020, 67% of the pharmaceutical companies, they outsource their work to service providers, right? 67%. And they predicted, there was a forecast that by 2021, by 2022, almost 70%, 75% of big pharma companies would be outsourcing their work to service provider industry, that is KPOs and BPOs like Cognizant and TCS. So that means there will be more and more job opportunities for our youngsters. And that reminds me, I forgot one point while talking about entrepreneurship. Today, our nation, we have the biggest problem of employment. People are unemployed. So two things which I would very quickly like to wrap up. One is that when you become an entrepreneurship, or when you have your own business, that means you provide more opportunities for employment. So you are helping the society, you are helping in nation building process. And one very important thing at this point of time, I think we wanted to take this, and we have taken one seminar on this. And I'm sure with people like Abdul Razak sir and Sharik, we will also have, once we start working regularly, Once you become a B Farm, it does not necessarily mean that you are employable. Okay, so to become an employable category person, you need to take up some more skill set, some knowledge. It takes something else. There was a very beautiful survey in Times of India. I don't remember the percentage, but it said that 70 to 80% of our graduates are not employable. They don't qualify to get employed. So that's a huge task in front of each one of you. Before you take your degree in your hand, you should do some introspection and you should ask yourself, yes, Mr. Moindon, you are fine. You are a B Farm. You have a degree which is authentic, which is not a fake degree. But are you employable? Do you have those necessary skill set, the knowledge, the confidence level to be employed, or any employer would like to employ you or not? This question you have to ask yourself, and the answer also will be given by you, because I do not know you. So you have to answer yourself, and then you have to do your SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your threats and opportunities? And then work on your weaknesses so that your weaknesses can become your strong points. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So I always say this to pharmacy students because this is true for myself. I always wanted to be a doctor. I missed my medical seat by one single mark, not one percentage. And then I landed myself into pharmacy. So the question I'm asking, pharmacy was not the first choice. You still want to be closer to healthcare and patient, then drug safety and pharmacovigilance is the way forward. This is one domain where you are very close to the doctors, you are very close to the patients, you are very close to the nurses, you are very close to the health care of the patient. So pharmacovigilance, you directly, so somehow what you missed out by not becoming a doctor, that particular passion and that particular thing which always pains you or acts you is taken care of by getting into a pharmacovigilance domain, and this is very satisfying to me. Next slide. So this could be possible for many others who are actually attending today's lecture, that some of you really wanted to become medicos, but they are doing pharmacy. So when you see this child here, what I have shown here, automatically you are remembered, you are reminded of Thalidomide tragedy. And this child has become symbol of pharmacovigilance, right? So, and as you probably would be knowing, or I must share with you, that before this Thalidomide tragedy, drug safety was very, very insignificant throughout the world. Our pharmacovigilance, drug safety really did not exist the way it exists today. So we must thank somehow. People say that there is always, there is a silver lining to the black cloud. So Thalidomide tragedy was a black cloud, and the silver lining came in form of drug safety and pharmacovigilance. Next slide, please. So as you would see that from 1960s, when Thalidomide tragedy took place, the pharmacovigilance has really evolved over a period of time during this 5 or 6 decades or more than that. It's almost 8 decades now. So after the Thalidomide tragedy, the regulators of the world, like USFDA, like MHRA, like EMA, like WHO, they came up with a lot of mandatory regulations and policies and directives. So MHRA had already had a system of reporting through yellow form. WHO started their international program for drug monitoring in 1968. US FDA came up with their CFR 310, 312, 314. Then we had ICH guidelines. Then we had volume 9A. Then we had volume 10. And then very recently in 2012, 2012, EMA, that is the European Medicine Agency, they came up with good pharmacovigilance practice module from 1 to 15. And then, as you must have heard about WHO and Uppsala Monitoring Center, those who are going to get into pharmacovigilance, they will keep hearing about UMC. This is the heart of WHO. This is Uppsala Monitoring Center in Sweden, which is doing a Herculean task and yeoman services to pharmacovigilance, because it is a global unit which is working on analyzing the drug safety data which they get from the world pharmaceutical companies and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. Do you think that my speed is okay, Abu Sufyan, sir? I'm going too fast? Any
Yes,
feedback?
yes, it is absolutely going in the right way.
Okay.
Yes.
So I would just like to share with you where the drug safety has come into picture. As I showed you that when thalidomide tragedy happened, the regulators, the pharma companies, and all the stakeholders realized that we are missing something. And what they were missing, that they realized that they were concentrating more on the efficacy part of the new molecule, and they were not really addressing the safety part of it. So as today the new drug development cycle exists, I have presented over here, you'd realize that right from the time when you have phase 1, in fact, the phase 1 you cannot reach, you reach to phase 1 only after preclinical trials. So whether it is preclinical trial on animals, or whether it is phase 1 or phase 2 or phase 3, as you will see my 3 bullet point here, what it says, it clearly says that our focus here is on drug safety and tolerability. So we cannot go to phase 1 until and unless we have ensured ourselves that this drug is safe in animals. So after testing its safety in animals, then we go to phase 1, where for the first time a new molecule is being tested in human being. If you feel that, yeah, okay, the drug is being tolerated, fine, we go to the next phase. And there we see their entire pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics of the study. We also do the dose regimen. We also see the pharmacology of the new molecule. And most importantly, we also see the safety, whether it has any safety or risk issues with this new molecule, which we want to bring it into the market. And the third is the last phase, which is also called as the regulatory phase, where we do the short-term safety study, and this is called as phase 3 or regulatory phase. After the phase 3 is completed, we have a lot of data on the new molecules, which shows us, or which tells us that, okay, this drug has got this particular efficiency or efficacy against this. These are the indications. And this is its safety data. And we can say, as I will show you going forward, that the efficacy and, the efficacy of this particular molecule overweighs the risk and safety issues of this molecule. We get new drug approval by the regulatory authority. And then comes the most important arena for drug safety, which is known as post-marketing safety surveillance. So this you must know as pharmacist or B.Pharm student, that what happens during clinical trial, there are inherent limitations in clinical trials that, we expose the new drugs to very handful or limited number of patients, and these patients are also selected patients. So as our inclusion and exclusion criteria will tell us that you cannot take kids in this particular study, you cannot take pregnant women in this, you cannot take elderly patients. There are only around 3,000 to 5,000 patients being tested for a very short period of time. So the data what you get after doing the clinical phase 3 trial, it is a provisional data. It is not true that the drug will behave the same way when it gets exposed to each and every person in the society. Now, this drug will be administered to infants, to child, to pregnant women, to elderly patient, and this can have a different behavior. And during the phase 3 time, up till phase 3 time, only a very common type of adverse drug reaction or side effects were highlighted or it gets manifested. So if you want to know what are the very rare type of adverse drug reaction or side effects of this new molecule, then naturally this can be discovered only during the post-marketing safety surveillance period, where a side effects like Steven-Johnson syndrome or anaphylactic shock or any severe immunological reaction comes to fore only in during the post-marketing safety surveillance. So all the pharma companies are obliged that as long as their molecules are there in the marketplace or in the shelf, they have to continue to monitor its safety and its efficacy, right? So let's go to the next slide. So this is the definition which is given by UMCA. These are the 4 terminologies which I have used in marked in red. This is very important. So each pharmaceutical company or what is this again, this one term which you'll come across again and again, MAH. So any company, you become a marketing authorization holder, right? If you get an approval to market a drug. So then it becomes your responsibility to have a very robust system in place whereby you would continue to monitor the safety of your molecule. And when the reports come to you, you do the assessment and then you understand what is happening with your drug during the phase 4 or during the post-marketing safety surveillance, and then you take decisions accordingly what you're going to do with your drug after getting this inferences when you analyze or understand the adverse drug reaction associated with your drug. This I will be able to show you or explain you better with the help of my next slide. Go to the next slide, please. Go to the next slide. Yeah. So this I always call, you should remember this, this is called Insaf Ka Tarazu. So, as a marketing authorization holder, you continue to monitor that at any given point of time, the benefit of your drug or your molecule is more than the risk it offers. So the benefit ratio should be always in favor of your drug. And this is a very dynamic ratio, and it keeps changing from time to time. So let me give you an example of thalidomide, what I cited before. You know that thalidomide in 1960, it caused phocomelia. That means the pregnant women who took this particular drug, they gave birth to children who did not have limbs, or they did not have well-formed limbs. And that is what is called phocomelia in pharmacological terms. So this drug was withdrawn, but because at that time this drug was being used only as an anti-emetic in the first trimester of pregnancy. So all pregnant women used to take this drug thalidomide as anti-emetic during first trimester, but the risk was so huge they gave birth to children without limbs, and this drug was withdrawn. Today thalidomide is again there in the marketplace. You can ask me why thalidomide has come back to marketplace. Because my answer would be because the benefit risk, this Insaf Ka Tarazu dynamics has changed now for thalidomide. Now thalidomide is being used for solid tumor as life-saving drug for cancer patients. So its benefit has 100 times increased than what benefit it was being used, or what indication it was being used in 1960s and 2020. Today, it is being used as a life-saving drug in a cancer patient. And here comes the pharmacovigilance science, that we have a risk management plan in place for thalidomide now. And with the help of this risk management plan, we have totally taken care of the risk which was there, or which is there with thalidomide, which was there in 1960, and it is not there in 2020. So what we have done, we have a risk management plan which says that this drug can be administered only by an oncophysician. He has to take care that this drug is being only given to cancer patients suffering from solid tumor. Then he has to see that there is no female involved who is in active reproduction cycle. So we have totally taken care of pregnant women so that they will not have the phocomelia issue. So we have totally eliminated the biggest risk which was there with thalidomide, and that was phocomelia. So if you now, when you compare the risk vis-a-vis the benefit in 1960, and when you compare today the benefit vis-a-vis the risk today in 2020, there is a huge difference. So today the benefit risk ratio has gone in favor of thalidomide, and that's why thalidomide is back in market, and thalidomide was removed in 1960. So I hope with this particular example, you understand how pharmacovigilance or drug safety science really helps the human being, the patient, the healthcare profession as such in eliminating or minimizing the risk and harmful effects of drug, which is associated with each and every drug. Please remember one axiom, one principle. No drug is 100% safe for 100% of times for 100% of people who are taking it. So out of 100 people, there would be some people who would experience an adverse drug effect or a side effect of this particular drug, not 100% of the time, but maybe 5 times or 6 times. So, but you cannot rule out, there is always a possibility when the patient takes a drug, he or she is likely to experience adverse drug reaction, adverse event, or a side effect. So this should be made very clear in your mind and in the patient's mind. Next slide, please. So this is a very big slide. And I just would like you to get aware of this, what is happening. So on the big pharma companies, when we talk of Johnson and Johnson, and when you talk of, keep it on the same slide, you know. I mean, it's not only a pharmacovigilance is not a small function. There are so many below that, under that, there are so many sub-functions as I have enumerated here. You have top management, you have got safety board, then you have case processing, then you have literature search, then you have aggregate reports, then you have signal management, then you have risk management plan as what I talked to you about during thalidomide. And then of course you need to have a legal department, and then you need to have you need to have training and development. So everything you need to have. Okay, so there is go to the next slide, please. So when we talk about a pharmaceutical company, basically you are talking about function under function under function, and you have a huge team which is required to do the evaluation from a safety perspective of all the drug molecules what they have in the marketplace. So they first collect the data, then this data is being evaluated through using softwares, and then you come to the risk and benefit evaluation, what I told you or what I showed you about the the balance, and then you come across or you take a decision, and this decision is being communicated to all the stakeholders. So the decision can be that you withdraw a molecule, or you make some changes in the label, or so that label changes are coming into the PI, what is known as pack insert, patient information leaflets, or it also comes in the SMPCs. This is called in Europe. This is called a summary of product characteristic. So all the labeling changes are being communicated to patients, to the healthcare provider, to the doctor, to the nurses, through the patient information leaflet or through the pack inserts. So that is the way the healthcare community is kept informed about it. Next slide, please. So this is a useful slide for you people. As I was talking to you about the Price Waterhouse survey, that more and more work is coming to India. As you can see, when an ADR is reported, the ADR is called ICSR, in individual case safety report. So today, India is processing close to 80% of ICSR of the world. So in case if there are 100 ADRs in a day, which is much more, 80 of these ADRs are being processed by India as an outsourced function. And this is going to increase by the day. So there will be more and more employment opportunities in KPOs, BPOs, and CROs. As on last year, there were 6,000 people who are exclusively working for pharmacovigilance industry in India. And we are doing almost 30% of aggregate reports like PSUR and PEBRS. And then we are also writing 10% of RMPs. Our problem comes that pharma industry is looking for trained PV professionals. So when we do BSc with life sciences, or when we do pharmacy, we are not trained on pharmacovigilance. So it is always better that we do a preliminary training on pharmacovigilance, like what this year Sharik sir had already provided. He had provided an online training on pharmacovigilance, and one of my junior colleague, Almas, had done that training program. And this training program will really be very, very helpful for people who would be seeking job in the PV sector. So this is a very important slide to you, which actually holds future for you. So you need not be desperate. I think people who have the right skill set, knowledge, I think they are bound to get jobs in pharmaceutical company and also in the PV sector of the pharmaceutical company. Next slide, please. The next slide is not useful for them. Just let's go to the next slide. Yeah. So you should see the international scenario today. So when we talk of pharmacovigilance, it is not that the jobs are available only in India. You can see yourself sitting somewhere else if you have sufficient pharmacovigilance knowledge, you have sufficient skill set. And if you go to the next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. So this is a very important slide. So these are the countries where WHO and Uppsala Monitoring Center are working in all these countries, including India. And in India, we also have our PVPI, that is Pharmacovigilance Program of India, with which I am very actively associated. So the people who are now listening to me from various parts of Maharashtra or Bombay, they can see themselves sitting anywhere here. They can be sitting in North America, they can see themselves in South America, they can see themselves sitting in the Central Africa or in Europe or in Saudi or in Australia, where pharmacovigilance is being practiced. So there are a lot of vacancies which are advertised. You should be part of LinkedIn program. So during LinkedIn also you come across there are a lot of vacancies which come from outside India, and so that there is a big opportunity for people who are expert in pharmacovigilance domain, that they can move to other part of the world for better prospects. So this is the incentive. I just want you to motivate that it is not necessary that you should become a pharmacy graduate and remain there where you are. You can always keep on adding to your knowledge, your skill set, and you can travel upwards, and sky is the only limit for a pharmacy graduate. Okay. So I think this particular map, the world map, gives you more hopes and silver lines than desperation and hopelessness. So next slide, please. So just a little bit of pharmacovigilance program of India. As you know, that we first started in 2005. I was the part of the pharmacovigilance program of India. I also was co-author for the protocol, but there were some deficiencies in the program which we started in 2005. It really did not click. Then we came up with the version 2 and started with the pharmacovigilance program of India from Ghaziabad. That is the Pharmacovigilance Commission of India office. And today we are very happy to announce and share with you that we are currently having more than 300 ADR monitoring center across India. Okay, 300. We have got 4 zonal centers. We have CDSCO apex body, which actually controls the entire PVPI program. We are getting something like 6,000 to 7,000 cases every day being reported to PVPI. Before this, there were hardly few hundred cases being reported to DCGI every month. As against that, today we are getting 6,000 to 7,000 cases being reported every month to PVPI. And this PVPI is being run in collaboration with WHO and UMCA, and we are using their software, VigiFlow, to do the analytics. Next slide, please. So this I just want to bring out the human facet of pharmacovigilance and the commercial facet of pharmacovigilance very quickly. There are only 2 or 3 slides. Just go to the next slide, please. So, you know why I'm so passionate? Because I see that if you are involved in pharmacovigilance and drug safety, you can be really helpful to the patient, to the healthcare industry. ADR, this is the drug safety, drug-related problems are one of the leading causes of morbidity and mortality. There are, if you see my next slide, please, there are 1 lakh people dying because of ADRs. So the drugs which are being used to remedy the illness or sickness, people are dying because of that. 1 lakh people dying every year, and ADR being the 4th leading cause of death ahead of other diseases. So what I'm trying to tell you, and there are studies and publications which say that 50% of these ADRs can be eliminated or can be minimized. So if you contribute, or if I contribute to patient safety through creating awareness, through creating a good pharmacovigilance system, robust system, if I reduce this by even 10%, I will be saving 100 lives. Or I will be saying so many people getting serious ADR and getting hospitalized. So that's how, I mean, this is the one thing which makes me very passionate about pharmacovigilance and drug safety, that I am contributing so much to the safety of the patient and to the society of which I am a part of. Next slide, please. But then again, it has got some commercial aspect that you should know as a part of the pharmacovigilance system and the pharmaceutical industry. Next, please. In case if you as a marketing authorization holder or a pharma company, if you do not have a robust pharmacovigilance system, every company can have cost of failures. So you can see there 3 examples I have given there. Bayer had a molecule called Becol, and it had a lot of problems, and patients, they had a lot of lawsuit against this particular company, Bayer, and Bayer had to pay something like $1.06 billion. Worse was the recent case of Vioxx. For Vioxx was the Merck's problem, Merck's product, very big product, $2.5 billion product a year. And when they withdrew it, there were a lot of cases against them. They have kept aside $50 billion to settle these lawsuits. Go to the next slide, please. So you can see when Vioxx was withdrawn, they lost the revenue of $2.55 billion through the sales of Vioxx. Then their price, share price came down from 45 to close to 25, and they lost $27 billion through cash stock market, Merck, and then they are still fighting a lot of lawsuit against them. The lady who was given a favorable decision by US jury sometimes back for the first case, because she claimed that her husband was a regular user of Vioxx and he died of heart attack or heart failure, and the jury decided that Merck should pay a compensation. And you know what compensation was paid to that lady? Merck was asked to pay $350 million, 350 million, 6 zeros, okay, dollars. So multiply this with 75 Indian rupees to that particular lady was being given by Merck. So nobody can see oneself, no company, no pharmacist would like their company to be in such bad situation. And that's why every company must have a very safe, robust pharmacovigilance system. And when you become part of this, then you become a responsible person who would be responsible to continue to have a robust and efficient pharmacovigilance system, so that your company does not have to face a challenge like what was faced by Merck. So this was my last slide, and I'm open to take any questions. First of all, I would like to know whether did you find this presentation useful? It added to your knowledge. Did you find this motivating enough? And of course, in case if you have any question, I still have some time with me. I can take any question which comes to your mind. Thank you so much. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible. Rida, Professor Abu Sufyan, and we can take any questions from students. I think it was a very engaging and a very thoughtful presentation, Moin sir. I think you really distilled down your decades-long experience into a very important and emerging area of PV, where the pharmacists are playing so central role in ensuring that the medications are safe and effective for our patients. So, Rida, we can take your questions out here, please.
Please post your questions and doubts in the chat box, students. Students, please post your questions and doubts in the chat box.
Meanwhile, I'll ask a question for Moin sir. So Moin sir, for a good career into PV, what would be your recommendation would be? And a lot of students directly go after their graduation to PV program. Do you think a master's in something like a pharmacology would be better for them in terms of long-term growth, or would you still suggest them?
No. So in case if somebody wants to go for a PG, then, and if he's looking for a PV program, then my recommendation will be that they should go for pharmacology as a specialization after doing B.Pharm. If they want to close their door at B.Pharm, then they must have better knowledge of pharmacology, which is being taught there to them. And they should also see therapy area or therapeutics and medicine as a part of their enhancing. I mean, if you understand more of pharmacology or physiology and therapeutics, I think you understand better pharmacovigilance, and probably you also increase your chances of getting engaged in pharmacovigilance business by our clients and pharmaceutical industry.
Great. Thank you. I think that makes sense. I think in a long term, it might really make sense to add technical expertise for a better growth.
Right. And Sharik, Dr. Sharik, I can also say that sometimes, there are people who also do some online coding courses. So they understand the medical coding system, which is being used as MEDRA. So, so it enhances their knowledge about drugs and drug safety. So, so question is, after B.Pharm, what we should be increased knowledge? That I have already said that you should try and enhance your knowledge in pharmacology, physiology, PD and PK, and also to some extent therapeutics. The PharmD people have a subject in therapeutics itself, and they do a lot of work at the shop floor level of a hospital. So they become very well aware of the pharmacovigilance part or the drug safety part, because they are directly in touch with the doctors, nurses, and the patients. And the therapeutics is a subject being taught to them, so which is not there in case of pharmacy. So I think you can strengthen your pharmacology knowledge, your physiology knowledge, and you can additionally read about drugs and medicine, so that this will be very, very helpful. Okay. So this was the only question which was being asked. Anything else?
Yes, sir, there is a question. There's a question from Tokyo. Qualifications for pharmacovigilance required. Which is better for it in comparison between B.Pharm and PharmD?
You cannot really compare PharmD and B.Pharm because B.Pharm, they spend many more years than a PharmD. They spend many more years than a B.Pharm student does. So if there are two candidates in front of me, one is PharmD and one is B.Pharm, naturally my choice would be to take up a PharmD, because he has done doctorate in pharmacy and you have done bachelor in pharmacy. And as I was talking to you before this question, PharmD has got a very elaborate or an extensive working at the hospital level in form of therapeutics. So they are more knowledgeable. In fact, they are made to meet patients and find out in case if there were some ideas, fill the forms, report, do causality analysis. So all this goes along with the PharmD, which is not available for B.Pharm. So naturally, PharmD has an advantage over B.Pharm, but of course you have to put in many more years. But also the expectation of PharmD is much more. So when you do a PharmD, you don't want to start at the lowest rung of the pharma industry. When you do B.Pharm, and if you want into pharmacovigilance, normally you would be given a, you would be given a lowest starting level, which is pharmacovigilance associate or pharmacovigilance scientist. But if you have done PharmD, probably you would start at slightly higher level than a B.Pharm student. Do I answer the question? Please elaborate on SAS program. So this is actually software as service. This is called as, it is called SAS. So this is software as service. So like if I want to do analysis of my ICSR or ADR reports which are coming to me, instead of purchasing entire software and getting it deployed on my server, this becomes a very, very costly affair. I may require to invest millions of dollars for that. So instead of that, what I will do, I will ask a supplier, a service supplier who can supply this software as service to me and then charge me accordingly for number of cases which I manage or I do the processing using the software. So my per year cost come down and it becomes affordable to me. So this business model is known as a SaaS models, software as service model. Okay. Then please fill attendance forms, sir. What are the best college for PhD in Maharashtra? I think that Sharik sir will be able to tell you because I'm not really associated with academics in a very big way. Sharik, what is your take on that?
I think for PhD, you define it gets more into departments and faculty expertise.
Yes.
Because you do a PhD with you do a PhD with a research guide. So that really matters where you are. Some college might have a good name, but their department is not very strong with regards to that research area. So Bombay College of Pharmacy within Maharashtra has a good, strong expertise into both pharmacology and pharmaceutics. And NMMIS has a good, strong expertise. BNCP has one or two good programs into pharmaceutics. So you really have to look into what area you want to go, number one, and then you narrow down to the guides who are doing good work in that area. When you talk about good guides, the most important thing is the quality of publications they are publishing, how much the lab is funded by government research agency. That is a reflection on the good work that is doing. So, a couple of, I think 1 or 2 months back, we had invited a very strong researcher, Dr. Vandana Patrawale, who is at ICT. She is doing a phenomenal work into pharmaceutics at ICT, has grants worth more than 2 to 3 crores in our lab, doing some really cutting edge technology like nasal deliveries of vaccine and stuff. So you really have to look at. So there is no one direct answer. ICT is a good place to start with. Bombay College of Pharmacy within Maharashtra is a good place to start with. NMIS has some good research program. So, a couple of them within Maharashtra area. Yes.
Right. So there is a question whether from a B Farm you can go to D Farm. Dr. Sharik, do you have any idea whether there is any provision for?
He's asking from B Farm to Farm D or D Farm?
Farm D. That's
yeah,
what
there is a
meant.
provision. Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, a lot of students are pursuing it.
Yeah.
Just here, 2 students have joined Nirma University in Ahmedabad for their Farm D program. And there is a bridge program where they can go into, I think, 2nd or 3rd year. I'll get those details. But definitely, yes, there is a transfer program from after you finish degree to Farm D program.
Okay. So Farm D and B Farm, I have already explained to you what is the difference. For clinical research, what are the key points required and what are the process to go for it? Okay, so clinical research is once again in the focus for India. We had a very bad time when the DCGI was not giving permission to do clinical trials because there were so many questions against safety of this. So clinical trials, if you say, there are various roles in clinical trial. So you can be monitor, you can be documentation person, or you could be the clinical trial physician, and you can be project manager and all that. So depending of what role the company is really looking to employ people, they would take either a life science graduate or a microbiologist, or they would take a pharmacist student, or they will take a medical student, depending on the role what they want to fit in. So even pharmacy guys, I have seen many pharmacy guys getting into clinical trial, and they start with clinical trial monitoring, that is like clinical trial monitor or clinical trial associate, and they go on to take up project management, and then they actually go through that into clinical trial manager, and some of my students have become global clinical trial manager. So over a period of time, you, in case if you really want to go for clinical trials, then you have to really study hard on all GCP, and you will get a lot of GCP modules on the, if you just go to the net, and there are ICH guidelines on GCP. So good clinical practice will be a good point to start with, and then you can get into clinical, you can get into a clinical trial domain or profession. Okay. Which entrance exam is required for B Farm to get admission Farm D? Sharik, this is, I don't think there is.
I don't think there is an entrance exam.
There is no entrance exam.
Yeah, but there'll be a transfer procedure to the university, and there'll be some kind of a requirement for marks. Yeah.
Okay, it is mandatory to do a pharmacovigilance course to enter in PV industry? No, not at all. I mean, as you must be knowing, a lot of students from Kalsekar itself, I think some people have joined TCS and Cognizant without doing any pharmacovigilance course. So, they normally have a lot of walk-in interviews, TCS and Cognizant, and they announce, and then you have to go and attend this walk-in. So it all depends at a personal level how good you are in a walk-in interview. So there are some do's and don'ts of doing a walk-in interview, because the interviewer only has 2 to 3 minutes to judge the person. So really, they don't go into the in-depth knowledge of the person who is the interviewee. What they see is the basic, the conversation skill set, the body language, the confidence level, and all these things are being measured at the first instance. And then there would be, if you are rejected at the first instance, then you cannot go any further. So my answer to thee is not, it is not mandatory to do any PV course to get into pharmacovigilance.
So just to add to what Moin sir says, so for last 2 years, we've been doing some kind of a bridge courses as such. Yeah. So add-on courses of maybe 30 hours or so. Last year also we did with Almas madam, who is
I did tell this about, I told them about this.
Yeah. So that is that is what we prepare them at least to go for an interview and at least be aware of the basics of pharmacovigilance. Yes.
Yeah. So the next question is, sir, as a fresher in PV, in which department in PV there is a lot of scope? The maximum scope is in current scenario is in case processing. So you cannot become an aggregate report writer because until unless you understand the ICSR or the case at the lowest possible level, you cannot become an medical writer like PSUR writer or paper writer. So you have to start, and the maximum number of people are required is in case processing. So most of the people join as case processor, and over a period of time, as organic growth, you get into other domains of pharmacovigilance. After MPharm, besides teaching professional, what are the other job opportunities there? So you can get into formulation development, you can get into regulatory, you can get into patents, you can get into, there are so many other things which I have been telling you, right?
Moin sir, just to add on to this question here, as you're probably person who's a very seasoned person into industry and you have a lot of connections, where is the overall future coming up into pharmacy? There's a lot of interdisciplinary areas that are coming up, something like AI and other stuff. Is there anything that you really want students to kind of think over and explore it?
Yes. You just took this from my mouth. See, there is a lot of artificial intelligence, machine learning, LNPs and all that is being getting into pharma industry, not only at the pharmacovigilance level, but also at the development level. The new molecule development level also, all these things are being, even at therapeutic levels and the investigation level, a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning thing is taking place. So somebody who has a good skills or understanding or liking for IT and programming and software engineering, I think this could be a very good marriage between pharmacy domain and the IT domain coming together. I think there will be a very bright future because pharma companies are looking for a lot of tools and programs which can help them enhance their efficiency and bring down the number of people which are required and also enhance the quality of the services. So this is one ideal area. What is the percentage scope to get government job as drug inspectors? There is a, you can just apply for what is known as the drug officers post or inspectors post. But today you can also apply to PVPI. So wherever there is PVPI center, ADR monitoring center, there are 4 or 5 positions. One is, of course, coordinator, one is data entry, another is the center head. So they are also taking BPharm fresh graduates for ADR monitoring center. You can start your career over there as well. Okay. And if you want to become a officer, that is the drug inspectors, then these are very specialized positions where drug inspectors are also being hired by DCGI and also by the State Pharmacy Council for their own areas and territories. So you can also become drug inspectors. So I think we have, okay, sir. Okay. So I think we have taken sufficient questions. It is almost
absolutely, sir. I mean, looking at the number of questions, I can definitely see that it was a very engaging session.
Okay.
And students, I think you typically get a judge of it when you see the extent of questions and the frequency of it. That shows that it was very engaging, and students really liked your perspective about it, and it's a very important area to be working on. So, okay, Rida, over to you.
Thank you, sir. So we are so appreciative of you taking time to come share insight and expertise with us. The students will greatly benefit from it. As you rightly mentioned, sir, the aims of PEB within the pharmaceutical industry are essentially the same as those of regulatory agencies. That is to protect patients from unnecessary harm. Thank you, sir. We are grateful to have you here with us, sir.
Thank you very much. And I hope to be in touch with the students. And I would invite them to be part of my network on LinkedIn, right? And also those who are interested, they can also subscribe our Al Hikmah channel so that they will get Friday Nasihas and Thursday Taskis and all that. Okay. And don't hesitate to send me a message through LinkedIn in case if you have any question. I'm always available. Even if I'm traveling, I do travel a lot, but even when I'm traveling, I keep seeing my mails and my LinkedIn messages. So I will be always there to help you out. And I'll be more than happy to shape career of any budding professional, whether it is not only from Kalsikar, from anywhere else as well. Okay, thank you so much and have a nice time and have a nice week program ahead. And Alhamdulillah, I hope if, people really got benefited from this program, and
Definitely.
we will be in touch, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So students need to wait. I think there is some additional information that Rida and the coordinators will have to say. Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Mohin sir, once again from all of us. Yes, over to Rida. So that people, I see students are leaving out. So they are thinking probably it's closed up. Okay, go ahead.
Now coming to an end of the program, I would like Vedant to show a quick summary of various events to be conducted on account of Pharmacists Day celebration. Today, later in the evening, we have an amazing speaker speaking today, so do not miss out on the event expert talk. On the second day, that is 26th of September, we have the Entrepreneur Idea Competition, where you get to flaunt your business skills and earn a prize. Later that day, we have the competitive oral presentation, where you present and give a professional talk on the topic provided. On the third day, that is 27th September, we have the awareness campaign. Here you get an opportunity to lend a helping hand to those in need, a food for the mind and the soul. On the fourth day, that is 28th of September, we have the video making competition. It is, as the name suggests, express your creativity through your art and earn a prize. Later, the same day, we have the floor talk event, where you get to show your speaking skills. So why waste the opportunity? On the fifth day, that is on 2nd of October, we have the Gandhi Jayanti celebration and the valedictory function. Thank you so much for your cooperation.
Thank
Now-
you, Rida. So just as a closure, yeah, you want to say something before I speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as very rightly mentioned out and laid out by Rida, so all the faculty coordinators along with student coordinators have really worked very hard in putting up this whole week of celebrations. Okay, they have been very nicely organized during the entire week. Your academics have been adjusted. There will be classes, but at the time of program, the classes will be kind of put it on hold. So I'm expecting each one of my students to be either they being in a participatory role or they are a part of their coordinating event. Okay? So at least minimum one and maximum you should be participating in all of the events. They are being designed with a very specific purpose to impart some specific skills into it. The entrepreneurship skill is a very important skill, as Moin sir mentioned, something to think out of the box, thinking about the market, what sells, what does not sell. Floor talk is all about expressing oneself, which is very important in terms of communication skills. Uske baad phir poster sessions hai. How do we lay out what is there in the science and putting them in a very nice poster form to express, good platform for you to express yourself. So ये सारे events हैं, सिर्फ ये events इसीलिए नहीं है कि बस 2-4 लोग उसमें participate कर रहे हैं, बल्कि this is for every one of you. All of you should be participating in, and I can bet on that once you do that with your whole and heart, you will definitely find that you have gained a lot from that. And these are your areas of growth. These are your opportunities to grow yourself in the degree program, so that once you come out of it, you get the right skills of becoming a good pharmacist. So with that expectation, okay, I would leave you guys with all the kind of expectation that in terms of your participation. And once again, a very happy World Pharmacist Day to all of my good students. All of my students are good. That's why I'm saying all of my good students. And I look forward for participating. I should get messages from you, sir. I participated in this, I participated in that. This is what I presented. So that kind of energy we should be seeing in the entire coming week. And that will really be a true way of celebrating World Pharmacist Day. So with that, thank you so much from my end. Over to you, Rida, for closing remarks.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Vedant Saman for giving a memorable vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rida, for the introduction. Thank you, faculty coordinators, for giving me an opportunity to promote the vote of thanks. I am Vedant Saman from final year B Pharm. It gives me an immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks on the day one, an inaugural program of our 1 week World Pharmacist Day 2021. On behalf of Anjuman Islam Kalsika Technical Campus School of Pharmacy, I extend my heartfelt gratitude for today's speaker, Mr. Mohin Dawn sir, for his insightful keynote address that covers the aspects of pharmacovigilance. Thank you, sir, for giving your precious time and making our inaugural session more energetic. Big thanks to our very beloved director of the campus, Dr. Abdul Razak Hanutali, for inspiring and motivating words. I would also like to thank our very own and beloved Dean Sir, Dr. Sharik Syed, for his very exciting welcome address. I would also like to thank the event coordinators, Professor Abu Sufyan Sheikh and Professor Sabah Sheikh, for enormous support and valuable guidance. A big thanks to the management of Anjuman Islam, our Honorable President, Dr. Zahid Qazi, our Honorable General Secretary, Mr. G.A.R. Sheikh, and our Honorable Executive Chairman, Mr. Duran Harris, for providing all resources and support. I would also like to thank the entire student team and my colleagues, Ms. Rida Boblai, Mr. Jagdish Bharsaude, and Mr. Mohammed Khan Sirguru for making this event more successful. Last but not the least, my heartfelt thanks to all the students who have attended the day one and inaugural session of World Pharmacist Day 2021. Thank you once again to all, and a happy Pharmacist Day to all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vedant. It was very nicely said. So just as a reminder, in the afternoon, we have an excellent expert talk where the speaker is coming all the way from Dubai, a young achiever, and he'll be speaking about his experience in life. So definitely make sure you tune in the afternoon for that talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vedant. It's a reminder for the students to fill up the attendance form before leaving.